with some celebration. So what do you guys have to celebrate about this past week? It could be something that's either going well in your business, something that's going well in life, and let's just keep it to like a quick, maybe 15 to 20-second share. And if you have something to celebrate, go ahead and type the word celebrate in the chat feature, and then we'll go ahead and dive in. While we're waiting on you guys to discern what you guys want to celebrate, want to just cover the kind of the flow for this evening. The first thing that we're going to do this evening is we're going to talk about the 14-day challenge that starts on Monday. Jennifer, I know you got something to celebrate, so I'll call on you first here in just a minute. So the 14-day full-time coaching challenge starts on Monday. Can you guys hear me, by the way? Okay, perfect. So it starts on Monday. If you don't know about it, I just made a post in the Facebook group. Take a look at that. And actually, I'll go over it real quick. I'll share my screen. Those are my notes for this evening. But this is the full-time coaching checklist. So basically, here are the kind of the pillars of the things to commit to every single day. And when you commit to these things every day, it's not just about the results that you create. It's about the person that you become in the process. And so you have an experience, or if you have some challenges with, time blocking or staying motivated or getting as much done in your day as possible, given the time that you've allotted to work on your business, this is a great challenge for you, because we're going to be working on these things through the process. You'll see a lot of things come to the surface on what you want to work on. And we always, we believe that your business is a direct reflection of you. It's a great mirror. That's why I love business so much, is because if you want to know what you need to get better at, just look at this. Your business will tell you what you need to work on. So the 14-day challenge is going to be a few things. So the first thing is to comment on 50 posts per day. We estimate that'll take about 2 to 3 hours. It takes us roughly about 2 hours to comment on 50 posts. 20 DM conversations, which takes us about 2 hours. So we allotted 3 hours, especially if you're not used to that workflow. So 20 DM conversations per day, 1 new call booked each day, 1 new call completed each day, and then 2 new posts or pieces of content, one of which is a video on your social media to get engagement so that you can start conversations with them the following day. By the way, if you are new to this group, welcome. It is a pleasure and honor to have you. I see a few new faces here. So we're connecting with you next 10 weeks and having you be part of this tribe. And we're looking forward to serving you tonight and hereafter over the next 10 weeks. If you are new though, you might not know how to do a DM conversation or how to schedule a call. Those are all in the video vault, and I would recommend getting through that as quickly as possible. You really want to go in order, but if you'd like to participate in the 14-day challenge, take some massive action and just get through those videos so that you can get to the DM strategy and then also the consultation conversation. And that's actually what we're going to talk about after we just jam out about this for a few minutes, hear some celebration. We're going to talk about sales, and we're going to talk about and sales has a negative connotation in most people's minds. Sales, when you think of sales, some people think of like high pressure, pushy, used car salesperson, right? Sales is not something that you do to somebody. It's something that you do for and with somebody. And so we actually, instead of using the word sales on our team, we actually use the word enrollment. When you enroll somebody into your services, and I think enrollment and sales are synonymous. So I actually pretty frequently use it in my language where, like if I want to go out to dinner, and my family wants to go somewhere else other than where I want to go, my job is to enroll them in my idea. And their job is to enroll me into their idea and see which one resonates, see which one creates that. And so that's really what we're doing when we're enrolling people into our services, is we're getting into a sales conversation. So we're going to dive deep into sales and enrollment, the art of enrollment today. And it's going to be very interactive. So make sure you have your journals out today. There's going to be some time for some introspection and some reflection. And we're going to use the energy that gets created during those moments of reflection to uncover some of the areas in your business that are telling you to work on.
Hey, Dean, sorry to cut you off. You're cutting off really bad. That's the only reason why I unmuted. I apologize. And then people are commenting on the chat that you're just breaking up pretty bad. So I just wanted to give you a heads up, and I apologize for interrupting.
Awesome. Yeah, thank you for letting me know. I will let you know that I just moved into a brand new house, and I still am waiting on furniture. I don't even have a bedroom set. And we're also doing renovations over here and everything. So I don't even have my internet hooked up. So I'm stealing internet from my neighbor, some neighbor. I don't know who it is. So so it will get a little spotty. And yes, thank you for letting me know about that, because if I do break up, just let me know, and I'll be happy to repeat whatever it was. But we'll get through this, I promise. So, and if I have to move to a different location, try to find a better place to do this call, then I will. But in my experience, based on the 5 or 6 Zoom calls I've had today, this seems to be the best place, but there might be a better place. So, so anyway, that is the 14-day coaching challenge, the full-time coaching challenge. And so if you are intending on being a full-time coach, then this is the challenge for you, because this will get you into the workflow, get you into the energy. Okay, let me see here. I'm gonna move around a little bit and just see if this makes things any better. I think this might be better, but we'll see. I'm gonna go next to a window. All right.
And to like talk to people. I'm not really great at communicating. That's like something I really need to work on, like calling people and like checking up. That's not like the thing that I'm.
Okay, I don't know if Dominique was talking to us, but thank you for that share. All right, so hopefully this is a little bit better, and if not, then we'll keep working through this, but we will get through this successfully. I trust in that. So, so yeah, we're gonna be talking about today the art of enrollment, enrolling people into your services. If you haven't gotten to that part of the course yet, then this will be a great thing to rewatch after you go through the DM strategy, as well as the consultation script. We're not going to go through the script like line by line. That's already part of the course. But we will kind of talk about some of the philosophies and the energy in which we want to show up to those calls. And, you know, I think the most powerful frame in any sales conversation is that if you look at your sales conversations as just a sales conversation where you're there just to make a sale, that is not a powerful frame. The frame that I'll invite you to hold while you're having conversations. Can you hear me now? Okay. So the frame that I'll invite you to hold when you're in sales conversations is that you're not there just to make a sale. You are there to invite somebody into a transformation. And we're going to talk about some specifics and how to do that. And we're going to do some reflection. And I think it'll be a really great experience for you guys. So let's start off with some celebration. Jennifer, let's hear what you have to celebrate.
Hi, this is Jennifer. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Okay. Well, I am new to the group as of today, so I just jumped on to see what the Q&A is all about. So that's my huge celebration. That's my first step celebration. As far as what's next, I know there's a lot of hard work and dedication, but I'm all in and really excited to learn. Thank you so much. And just seeing what I have to offer to the group and what I can gain and learn and be able to press in and move forward. So it's a huge celebration. I was scared as hell to join in, but it's a good step.
Well, Jennifer, thank you for your trust, and also thank you for just taking a stand for yourself and really stepping into that version of you that creates everything that you want to experience in your future, for your life, for your family, for all the things that are meaningful and important to you. What you put into this is what you get out of it. And so the more you show up and that you're the first person to share, that says a lot about you and your commitment to getting outside of your comfort zone and all the things that we feel are just important to be successful in anything. And so thank you for your share, and it's great to have you. It's an honor to serve you as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So let's, I think we've got one more celebration here. Let's hear from Ollie.
What's up, Dean? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Perfect. So I got my real estate license today. I passed the test in California, and that was a long process. Thanks, guys. Started August last year, took courses. It got postponed 4 times because of COVID, but it's finally here and I'm excited. So the reason why I got it was really just to look at investments for myself and just be the person who knows things for myself. But I've been putting out more of myself on social media, and like people are like, oh, that's really cool. You do this. And like now I have a bunch of people who I never thought would even be interested in the house talking to me and being like, hey, like, would you be interested to like possibly go look at open houses for me? And I'm like, sure, I would love that.
Awesome, brother. Well, congratulations on that endeavor.
And I'm excited to talk to you, Dean, because I know you're an expert in this field. So.
Yep, absolutely.
So real quick, if it's cool, Ollie, I actually work for a real estate investment company. So if you have questions, feel free to ask.
Cool. Nice. Awesome. Will do, Stefan. Thanks.
Yeah, I would also be open. I know we have a few other real estate investors and real estate agents. If we want to co-create, a 30, 45-minute Zoom meeting, and anybody that's interested in real estate investing, or, anything that has to do with real estate, I'm totally open to have that conversation. So we can co-create that on the Facebook group. So congrats again, brother. All right, we do have a few other celebrations. So Rick, great to see you, man. Let's hear from you.
Hey, man, how you doing?
By the way.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, so when I started this and when I was talking to you about joining the group, I was going to turn off all of I'm a real estate agent, so Zillow and Realtor.com, those places to get leads. So I've done that, and I'm going to close out my busiest month ever. I've been doing this for seven years now. So August, I'll just be a couple $100 short of 50 grand. And so I've been trying to be strategic with all of my social media marketing, and I'm not even close to the responses that you have on this challenge yet, but really spending more time on people that I know that are local instead of just kind of, all over the place. And I've got 2 more listings hitting next month, and they're both from people I went to high school with that I haven't spoken to for over 30 years. So this stuff works. It's amazing. So thank you.
Awesome, brother. Yeah, absolutely, man. By the way, I know that I did a class just for realtors, I guess maybe 2 months ago or so. Were you part of that training with the network amplifier? Oh, I got to send that to you.
Yeah.
Anybody that's a real estate, yeah, anybody that's a real estate agent, I've got 2 resources. I've got the network amplifier protocol, and then also the perfect buyer consultation script. So, so I'm happy to share that with you. So
I would love that too, Dean.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, just send me a DM on Facebook. So, all right, we got another celebration here. Let's hear from Lauren. Lauren. Talking, we cannot hear you. Going once, going twice. All right. All right. So Lauren, if you get your audio squared away, let me put on my gallery view to see if I can see you. Do want to let you know that I cannot hear you. Okay. Well, nonetheless, let's go ahead and dive into today's content. So today we're going to be talking about one of my favorite things. I was having a conversation with somebody 2 days ago, and I don't know where it came from, but I said something like, you ever say something when you're just like in this flow state, you say something and you're like, oh shit, that was pretty good. Like I never said that before, but damn, I got to write that. I got to remember that. I had one of those moments, and what I shared was that the most important skill that is timeless. It doesn't matter what the state of the world is, the state of society, doesn't matter what time frame we're living in, whether we're living in modern times or if we lived, hundreds or thousands or maybe even millions of years ago, is the skill of influence. And influence is something that that when we master our influence, we can communicate in such a way that's really authentic to who we are, and authentic to what our purpose and what our message is. And when we're influential, we can also make a really big impact on the people that we serve. And so the skill of influence is really important. And I think influence and sales kind of go hand in hand. The more influential that you are, and I also think there's a bit of leadership that's in there too. So if you are a really great leader for yourself, you're also likely a great leader for others. We always have to lead ourselves first before we can be leaders for others. And in sales conversations, we're leading the conversation. We are leading people into a decision or into a transformation potential. And so I just want to offer that frame real quick. And let's see here. Can you guys still hear me? Okay. So
it was just cutting off, Dean. I'm sorry, dude. It was cutting off pretty bad. That sentence that you just did, that last one, missed it.
Okay. You know what? I'm gonna actually hop on my my phone. That I think will get better reception.
Why don't you just go order pizza for the neighbor and then just sit in the couch and use your Wi-Fi correctly, man? I said, why don't you just go next door, knock on the door, and say, hey, can I stay here for another hour and a half?
Yeah, let me just post up in your house real quick. I know.
Yeah. Do it.
I wouldn't say no to anyone that brought pizza to my door personally.
You can try Dean, you can always hotspot yourself from your phone, so you don't have to hop back off.
Yeah, you know what? I might just do that. Let's see if that works.
Because it was working for a good minute. And I mean, you were flowing, and then all of a sudden, that last, like when I came in, it was just choppy as can be.
All right, let's see here. I might cut out for a moment as I'm connected to my hotspot, but then I'll be right back on. Okay. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's try this out. I am on the hotspot, totally wireless here. So, so we're talking about the art of enrollment, which is really how to be influential in a sales conversation. So, what we're going to do is we're just going to dive right in. We're also going to have some moments of reflection here. And in these moments of reflection, I'm going to invite you to just take your journal and something to write with. And there's 3 prompts that I'm going to share with you guys, that what we're going to do is we're going to take a few moments just to reflect on some of these questions. And then we're going to open it up for 2, 3, maybe 4 shares. And just to kind of get the energy of this conversation going. And through that, I think what we're going to co-create here tonight in this conversation are some great awarenesses around how we can show up better for the people that we're serving on the other end of our consultations. Because when we invite somebody into a consultative call or a sales call, I would say it's an enrollment call. But whenever we're in a situation where we're offering somebody our services, we're not just offering our services. The main thing that, if there's one thing that you guys can take away from this conversation, every call that you do with a potential client, it's not a sales call. It is a moment of transformation for them. And so when you, and it doesn't matter, by the way, what service you offer. So anytime that somebody enrolls into some sort of service or selects you as somebody to provide a certain service, there is a transformation at some capacity that is happening, especially if you're a coach. As a coach, you are enrolling somebody into a journey to their highest potential. And so it's not you selling them for us, we don't view the work that we did with you on, like, each one of you, we had a strategy call with you. And if it felt right for us and if it felt right for you, you joined this program and we enrolled you into this program. And the way that we look at that conversation isn't a sales call, because that's, a sales call, it kind of takes away the true meaning and the true purpose of what we're doing. This is a moment of transformation. It's an invitation for you to step into your true potential and provide that space for you to explore who you are as a professional, who you are as a person, to work on your mindset, your strategies, your sales skills. So I just want to set that frame so that whenever we talk about enrollment or your sales skills, what we're really talking about is how to hold space for somebody's transformation, and also how to be influential in that and guide somebody through that transformation. So having said that, let's go ahead and dive right in. I'm going to offer this first prompt. Oh, and by the way, Lauren, did we miss your celebrate? Okay, yeah, you had your internet disconnected. That makes 2 of us. Before we dive into the question, I do want to open it up for Lauren's share. So go ahead and unmute yourself, Lauren, and let's hear your celebration.
Thank you, Dean. I'm celebrating because this is my first call with you guys. I'm also brand new. and I have a potential client enrollment call tomorrow. And I also have an existing call tomorrow, an existing client call tomorrow. So yeah, it'll be an exciting day.
Well, first of all, welcome to the group. It is an honor and pleasure to have you and to serve you. And what perfect timing. We're going to be talking like very specifically how you can show up to that call tomorrow in a really powerful way that invites your client into a transformational experience.
Awesome.
And ultimately, I think, you know, that's what we are all offering, is a moment of transformation. And by the way, it doesn't matter what your service is. Like, you know, for like, I also have a real estate company where whenever I bring on an agent, I'm not bringing on an agent to help them sell houses. I'm helping them step into a version of themselves that is more abundant, that's more powerful, that's more influential, that's more effective. And through becoming that person, they sell more houses. So it's more of like we're a people development company disguised as a real estate company. So, you know, we can impact people no matter what we're offering, what our service or products are. Any moment that we're in a conversation with somebody, it's an opportunity to bring in transformational energy to that conversation and invite that transformation so that they can continue on to the next chapter of their journey in a way that helps them feel supported and also gives them the tools that they need to create what they want. So thank you for that share, Lauren, and it's great to have you. So what we'll do is we'll dive right into the first question. So again, I'll invite you to just have your journals out and something to write with. And what we're going to do is I'm going to share this prompt, and then we're going to take probably 5 to 7 minutes to just journal about it. And then after the journaling, we're going to open it up for 2, 3, maybe 4 shares. And then we'll go on to the second prompt, and there's a total of 3 this evening. So I'm going to go ahead and put it up here on the screen. So here's the first prompt. What was the best sales experience you've ever had, where your expectations were majorly exceeded? And what was that like for you? What made it special and meaningful? So I want you to think about this question as the receiver of the sales experience, meaning you were the person that bought, right? You weren't the salesperson, but you were the person that bought. And what was that the best sales experience you've ever had? And what made that special and meaningful? So let's just take a few moments and journal on that. We'll journal on it till it's 8:30 right now, so maybe 8:35 to 8:37, and then we'll come back and we will do some shares. All right, so let's go ahead and wrap that up, and let's reflect on what was the best sales experience or the best enrollment experience you've personally ever had. So we'll open it up for 2, 3, maybe 4 shares. So if you would like to share what that experience was and why it was special and meaningful, to go ahead and just type the word share in the chat. And let's get this conversation going. So Johnny.
Hey Dean, can you hear me okay?
Sure can.
Awesome, cool. Your internet seems really good now, but I might regret saying that, so that's cool. The one I've written down was a workshop I got enrolled in called Awaken. It's by a guy called Alan Kleinhans. He's trained by Tony Robbins, but he does kind of like small workshops, and yeah, Tony's kind of, he's a trainer in Tony's team. But he did, like, to introduce us into it, he did one of those sort of free webinars where you go onto it and then they tell you some useful information and then tell you about the price and actually do the, you know, what we do in our script, kind of bump the price down, and then you're like, yeah, get really bought into it. For me, what was really special about it was how much it was about going deep into yourself and understanding your sort of inner child and understanding some of your subconscious behavior. And why it's so special for me was it was like tailored to everyone, but you discovered something about you that you wouldn't have realized otherwise, and really, really deep. And that helped me to sort of apply day-to-day actions and sort of change my life from it. And it was really special as well because you had other people who were like very similar and wanted to do the same, and they were able to share their experiences and be very authentic. So it kind of felt like a group bonding thing, but also touching that deep experience otherwise. And so it was definitely, definitely sort of, you put there personal awareness and discovery, but just that in itself was worth the money that I felt I wouldn't have got otherwise.
Awesome, man. Yeah. So let's kind of unpack that a little bit more. So, you know, the things that I wrote down here on the screen were some of the things that came up for me as you were sharing that. Personal awareness and discovery. You know, whenever we can help somebody self-discover, and, you know, if you've read any sort of, you know, sales books in the past, or, you know, have gone through any sales training, you've probably heard something to the tune of, the best salespeople aren't the people that tell you about their products. It's the best salespeople are the people that ask the best questions. And the purpose of asking great questions is the person that asks the questions in any conversation is the person that really does lead the conversation. Think about like an interview process, right? When you're interviewing, or when somebody's interviewing for a job, it's the person that's interviewing that has control of that conversation, and all they're doing is asking questions, right? So the more that we can ask really powerful questions, the more we can lead the conversation. The other part to asking great questions is to help them develop their sense of awareness and discover what their needs are, so that they can feel understood. And that kind of goes into the second point that I heard you share, Johnny, is that, you know, you had a safe space to share what those personal awarenesses are. And that feeling of being understood is so powerful. You know, oftentimes the people that are going to buy the most from you aren't going to buy from you because they necessarily understand what you're selling. They're going to buy because they feel understood. The other thing too that I just want to touch on about asking questions is that the person that talks the most in any conversation is the person that feels like the conversation went the best. And so the more that you can have your client or potential client express, the better. And I think I've shared this story a few times, but I'm going to share it again because it's so powerful, and it was just an aha moment for me. There's a time a couple years ago where you know, I basically issued a challenge to our entire team, and I was also part of that challenge, where the challenge was in every conversation that we have with a potential client to not say a single statement and just ask questions. And I remember going into a listing appointment to, list their home and, basically onboard them as a client. And I didn't say a single statement. I literally just asked a bunch of questions. So this guy didn't know how many houses I've sold. He didn't know anything about my background, or I didn't even talk about me. I just asked great questions about him and his journey and what he wanted to get accomplished. And I know that he felt understood. And at the end of that conversation, not only did he sign with me, he also said, you know what? You're not like every other realtor. I really like you. And in the back of my head, I'm thinking, man, you don't really even know me. I just asked a bunch of questions to you. And so that's the power of asking questions and just holding the space for people to express the answers to those questions and express what their challenges are, what their visions are, what their goals are, and also what they need to do in order to get to those goals, and how you can support them is really the part of the conversation where you can show your value. But up until that point, it's just so important to ask really great questions. And instead of trying to be interesting, I feel like so many times when we feel like we have to make a sale, we try to be interesting, right? We try to put on a show. And it's like, oh, well, let me get my sales hat on and let me, figure out how to, say this in a really sophisticated and smooth and charismatic way, when that's not important. The most important thing is to give up being interesting for being interested. Just be interested in your client, really care about your client, really care about their journey. Put yourself into their shoes and really understand where they're at. Understand where they've been and understand where they're going so you can better serve them. So, Johnny, thank you for sharing that, brother.
Yeah, that's a quick question on that, Dean.
Yeah.
Quick one. Asking questions and trying to be interested rather than interesting, that makes total sense. And from somebody who didn't come from sales before this course, it's been really, really eye-opening for sort of going into calls. Do you think it's okay though to show, you don't want to be going on about you obviously, do you think it's okay to show a little bit of your vulnerability and where you've come from in the call? I mean, just what's your view on that, just to show like I was here and now I'm here, but then sort of asking questions as well?
Yeah, great question. And, there's also like an element of like being fluid in the conversation where, you don't want to be like, I issued that challenge of just asking questions. That was a very rigid experience for me. I wouldn't do that all the time because it didn't feel natural, right? I was like forcing myself to ask questions, even though the result that was manifested was actually quite positive. But it didn't feel natural. It didn't feel conversational for at least from my perspective. So I do think that the most important part of asking questions and allowing them to express, and if there's something that you can also share in that expression and create resonance in the conversation, I think that's super important. So just use your discernment and your judgment around like if somebody shares something, and especially something that's vulnerable, it's important to really like hold that safe space for them and just affirm that's like, hey, thank you so much for sharing that. I actually can relate a lot to that experience. And just saying something as simple as that will help people feel understood and feel safe to further express. Awesome. So let's hear from Ollie. Oh, I'm sorry, I skipped Tiffany. Let's go with Tiffany first, and then we'll go with Ollie.
So my bullet points are very similar to Johnny's. I kind of struggled with this one because I was like, shit, I've never had a good sales experience. And then I was like trying to think back of things. And honestly, I would say my best sales experience would be with Abby from the Breakthrough team. Because she really tugged at my heartstrings and the flow was very smooth. It was a lot of similar with Johnny, and what you were saying is like she was asking me and I was doing all of the talking, so that way like it helped me realize where I was and where I wanted to be and where I could be. And then like when we got to like the money section, she didn't make me feel guilty when I was like hesitating, and she's just like, okay, no problem, like let's talk about this, let's talk about, and like it was just a very smooth flow that didn't feel super aggressive.
Awesome. Well, thank you for sharing that. The cool thing is that I trained Abby. So, you know, all the stuff that we're covering are all things that, you know, that we talk about. Like we literally eat, this is the, like how we build the business breakthrough program is literally how we're teaching you how to build your business. So you just rip off and duplicate everything that we're doing. Right. So that's the cool thing about it, is that we're actually proving this through this program and our other programs. And that is, you know, we know that it works. We know that when we show up for people in this certain way, we're giving value and we're helping people uncover some of those blind spots. It's so valuable, you know, like it's so much more valuable for somebody to, you know, for you to be with a potential client and help them discover something that nobody else has helped them uncover, or that they, or you know, they've never uncovered themselves. And for them to uncover that with you in that consultation, number one, creates just such a beautiful moment of safety where it's like, hey, you can express here. There's no judgment, right? This is a place for you to really express whatever's coming up, because whatever's coming up is real. And if we deal with the real, then we can make a change. And so helping somebody develop a sense of self-awareness is so much more valuable than telling somebody that you're the best coach in the world, right? Even if you were the best coach in the world, saying that you're the best coach in the world is nowhere near as valuable as helping somebody actually uncover something that maybe they've never seen before. And to your point, Tiffany, you know, the best salespeople aren't high pressure. They're not pushy. It's not, sales isn't something that you do to somebody. It's something that you do for somebody and with somebody. And by the way, there's people that we talk to that don't join the program, either because we don't think it's a good fit or they're not ready to make that transformation. And either way, that's okay. It's important as salespeople for us to not be attached to the outcome, but rather really be attached for us showing up for them in the best way possible and taking a stand for what is possible for them in their transformation. And sometimes that takes like, hey, you know, you're scared to make a decision. Well, that's okay. Most people are scared to make a transformation because transformation is scary, because there's a part of us that we have to let go of whenever we step into a transformation, especially in a course like this, and most likely in most of your businesses as well. Your clients, in order for them to pull the trigger and for them to say, okay, yes, let's do it, that is a huge step for them. That is a life-changing moment. And to be able to honor that moment and be there with them in that moment is so special. And so when we have like a hidden agenda, or not, I wouldn't even say it's a hidden agenda, because most salespeople have a very clear agenda where they just want to make a sale, right? And it doesn't feel good to feel like the salesperson that you're talking to just views you as a commission, or just views you as another number. And so it's so important that when we're having these experiences with other people and we're holding the space for them to make a transformation, and we're saying, hey, here's the stage for you to step onto so that you can finally shine. This is your opportunity, and I'm just here to support you. That is so much more powerful, because they're not buying because they understand what you're selling, right? They're buying because they feel understood and they trust in the relationship, they trust in the container, and they trust in the transformation that they could have in this environment. So thank you, Tiffany, for sharing that. Anything else that you want to share on that, or does that feel complete?
No, that felt pretty complete. Thank you.
Awesome. All right, let's go with Ollie.
What's up, Dean? So I think a lot of what I was going to say is what Johnny pretty much mentioned. But again, the best sales experience I've had was this call, like this program, and the call to really get myself engaged here. And what was different there, as Johnny said, is I felt heard and I felt like I could open up. But also two things that I also really stick out was that I really sold the deal, like sold the whole situation myself, because I looked at how I knew who Rob was. I followed him for a long time. So he had built that authority in myself, or like he's built it in my head. So I didn't need a push. I didn't need someone to really try to persuade me. But then the second thing was also that I felt like I was making a decision with my gut versus my mind and my head. And in a lot of situations before, I was aware that I was making more decisions with my head. And believe it or not, it had probably been right because it led me to where I am today. But that was one of the only times that I really felt like I can use my gut to make a decision, and I listened to my feelings instead of just my head. And yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's such a big point. And this is something that, in this line of work, you guys will definitely experience this if you haven't already. And this is just true for all humans, right? We are in a society where we are so cerebral. We are so in our heads. And the brain is a wonderful piece of technology. Like, our brain is amazing. It is a supercomputer. And our brain literally picks up everything. Consciously, we can process, I think it's 200 bytes per second. But our unconscious mind literally has an infinite amount of input. So even the things that we're not conscious of, our brain is still processing that information. In fact, let's do an exercise real quick. I want you guys to all close your eyes, and let's just play full out here. So don't be too cool for school. If you buy into this exercise, I promise you will get an experience and an awareness out of this. So close your eyes, and I'm going to ask you to open your eyes in just a few seconds, but with your eyes closed. When you open your eyes, I want you to focus. I'm going to count to 10, and I want you to focus. I want you to count how many things you see around you that are the color brown. So don't open your eyes yet, keep them closed. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna have 10 seconds to count the number of brown items that are in your environment right now. So when I say go, open your eyes and start counting, and I'll count to 10. And then I'm going to ask you a question about your experience. So on your mark, get set, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, now in the chat, go ahead and type the number of items that you noticed in your environment that were white. How many items did you notice that were white? All right, so notice how most of you didn't notice anything that was white, but now that you're looking around, you've got a bunch of things that are white around you. And what's interesting is that your unconscious mind actually took in every bit of information, all of the different things that were in your environment, but all your conscious brain was focused on were things that were brown. And so that just goes to show you that when we're focusing on something, that's all we notice. We have a part of our brain called the reticular activating system. And the reticular activating system is the part of our brain that when we're looking for something, we will find it, right? If you seek, you shall find. And so it's kind of like when you buy that brand new car, You get into a new car, and guess what you see driving all over the road that you've never seen before? That same freaking car, right? You see that car everywhere. And so that is the reticular activating system at work. So, so I just wanted to share that experience with you because when we are using our brain is only meant to really focus on one thing. And especially if we are making decisions from our brain, the brain is also the part of us that is what keeps us alive. And the most powerful mechanism to keep us alive is fear. So thousands or maybe millions of years ago, the reason why our brain was important is because our brain would sense or our brain would see, like, a rhinoceros or a saber-toothed tiger. And as soon as our brain saw that saber-toothed tiger, our brain already knew what to do. We didn't have to think about it, right? It wasn't like, we had to stop and think about it like, oh, there's a saber-toothed tiger. Okay, let me think about what to do next. Let me ponder what the best thing to do. Should I run? Should I, go up and try to pet it? No freaking way. Our brain already knew, like, you got to get the fuck out of there, right? So we have this piece of technology that automatically will put us in that fight or flight response, which is a fear mechanism. And fear is fear is like fuel for the brain, right? So it's the part of us that will look for threats in our environment and will help us run away from it. So when people have a moment of transformation, if they use their brain, they're going to find all of the things that they fear and run away from it. And so, and maybe you guys had that same experience whenever deciding to, jump into either this program or another transformational experience or just any other buying decision, right? It's the part of us that will always talk us out of stepping outside of our comfort zone. Our brain is literally meant to keep us in our comfort zone and keep us safe. However, we have another part of us, and I would say this is the true part of us, and it's the part of us that always guides us to our highest potential. It's our emotional compass. It's the part that all of us have been gifted with, and sometimes we don't listen to it. It's, it's the part that all we know when we're first born into this world and into this reality. It's the only part of us that we know, while our brain's trying to figure everything else out. All we know is to follow our gut feeling. But over time, and being, a citizen of society and, learning the social constructs and how to not get rejected and like all these other things that, we are led to believe are important. Not saying that they're not important, but we're led to believe that they're important. And we don't trust our gut anymore as a society as we continue on this journey. And so enlightenment is not about learning new things. It's actually about unlearning some of those things and just remembering to trust our heart and trust our gut. Our gut is the part of us that will always guide us to our highest potential. And so in a transformational moment like this, it's so important to really tap into somebody's gut feeling. And if their gut feeling says this is a hell yes, then it's really important to hold that space for them so that they can trust their gut feeling. Some people won't. And we can do everything that we can. The reality is that some people won't. Some people just can't push through, right? But as we get more influential and as we get more into just, holding that space for somebody to have a transformation and really believe in their transformation, then we can help them allow their gut to guide them through. So supporting people's true decision is that gut feeling. Your gut feeling is never wrong. Something feels good down in your gut.
It's
sometimes it's hard to
9 o'clock.
discern, like, is this a gut thing or is this a brain thing? And that's another journey, right? But it's when you can identify, where is this coming from? Is it my head or is it my heart? And if it's from your heart knows. If it feels good, go for it. If it doesn't feel good, don't go for it. If it's not a hell yes, it's automatically a hell no. So that was a fun little exercise. So thank you for playing full out there. So we just heard from Ollie. So I think we've got one more share from Carrie.
Hey, so one of the things that I had written down as far as one of the, like, what I had experienced as a buyer from a sales call was kind of that initial kickoff of the conversation. So, and one of the things that I've always appreciated is, especially when you're going into something, that's going to be an investment or something that's going to be a big purchase, a lot of times, like if we're setting up clients for these calls, we know that they're anticipating that there's going to be some skin in the game for them. And so there's probably some anxiety with that. And what I've always appreciated is when you start the call off, rather than focus on just what you're having in that conversation as far as the service or what they're trying to sell, taking that time to just have some kind of easygoing one-off call about just, hey, how's the day? Or did you do something fun today? Or something with your family, or share just a fun moment, that you can actually just build kind of a quick separate relationship from the product that's actually going to be, or a service that's going to be sold. And I think that just eases the feeling, takes the anxiety, and takes the focus off of this big decision that they know that they're going to have to make, and can kind of relax that, set things aside, builds a little bit of rapport. And then when you start getting into the questions, I think you also feel as a buyer more open to be honest with the questions that they're asking, because you've kind of built a little bit of trust already.
100%. Two really good points that you made that I think that I'd like to echo. The first thing that you shared was, really getting into rapport with somebody, right? Like having that experience with somebody where you're building the relationship and you're really just like authentically connecting, and I call that, really, creating or building resonance in the conversation. If both of you are resonating at that same frequency, that's super important. And sometimes, the best way to be in resonance with each other is to just connect with them on a really, just a really authentic level. Nothing to do with what you're going to offer them or what the purpose of the call is. It's really just like, hey, I want to get to know you. What are you all about? And the other thing I wrote down was, people don't come unless they know how much you care. So, so that is, that's just a really important point is, build a relationship before trying to, enroll somebody into anything. Really get to know them. People don't care how much you know unless they know how much you care. So, so thank you so much for sharing that. Does that feel complete, by the way? Is there anything you want to add?
Nope, I think that's it. I guess just one kind of other comment was, is I also appreciate kind of that honesty to, if there's something that I'm thinking that I built this picture of something that I think I want or something that I think I need, through questions, you can identify that, that maybe they recognized as the seller that I really don't need to buy that, or really don't need, that additional add-on or something, that they would ask more questions to say, what do you really need that for? Is that really what you're trying to get after? To try to, and again, to your point of just asking more questions to kind of get you to a path of what's going to be most beneficial for me.
Yeah, 100%. That's another great point is, when somebody expresses something and you don't see how that fits into their picture of how they view the world and why that's important for their transformation, it's so important to just address the elephant in the room. And you could just, like, one of my favorite word tracks, it's so simple. And I use this just in everyday communication, not just like sales conversations. I use this all the time because I'm genuinely interested. And the word track is, hey, tell me more about that. Like, I'm genuinely interested. Like, tell me more about that. So anytime that there's something more to uncover, anytime that you feel like there's some energy where you want to just get that expressed into the container, and the container is the container of the conversation that you create with that person, you want to create a trusting and safe container for them to express. And so part of that is just being really interested, and again, affirming that, hey, thank you for sharing that. That's really important and really meaningful. So, so thank you, Carrie, for that.
Yep. All good.
All right. So let's, did you have something else to share?
Nope. I'm all good. Thanks.
Awesome. Yes. Thank you. All right. So let's move on. And by the way, give me a thumbs up if you've been enjoying this so far. Is this valuable information for you guys? Great. So now let's go ahead and move on to the second prompt here. We're going to take this a step further. And here is the prompt. So this is really about creating the vision for, and really just like enrolling you in the idea that the art of enrollment is important to you, and important to your family, important to your future, important to your business. So the question that I want to invite you to reflect on over the next 5 to 7 minutes is, what is possible when you master the art of enrollment and influence? And why is that important to you? And you might also add, like, why is that important to your business? Why is that important to the world? Why is that important to the people you serve? Why is that important to your family, your children, all of your friends, all of your family? Why is that important to the people that you spend the most time with? Why is that important to you? So we'll take a few minutes and journal on that, and then we'll come back in about 5 to 7 minutes. so let's wrap that up and let's start some shares. So the prompt was, what is possible when you master the art of enrollment and influence? And why is that important to you? And if you're going to share, when you do share, I want you to share from a place of extreme gratitude for your journey and as if you had already accomplished what is possible. So that thing that, even if it seems impossible, imagine having already achieved it and share from that place as if you've already achieved it. And so what is possible when you master the art of enrollment and influence, and why is that important to you? So if you have, we'll again open it up for 2, 3, maybe 4 shares. And if you would like to share, go ahead and type the word share. All right, let's hear from Lauren.
Thanks. Sorry, I realized I had to turn my video on.
That's all right.
So when I master the art of enrollment, I will be able to work with everyone who needs my help, specifically with sleep. I'm a sleep coach. And I will be able to make my full-time income from this work, and I will be going into these calls with confidence. And the why is that important to me is more the personal part. So that's where I can have a job that I love and where I feel like I'm really helping people. But the really important part is that I want to help people come through insomnia faster than how long it would take them to do it themselves. Because for me, in my 20s, I went through 5 years of insomnia, and it was horrible, horrible, horrible. Like, I understand why it's used in torture, because it's really bad when you're experiencing that over a long period of time. And I know people who have experienced insomnia for more than 5 years, longer than I did, some even 10 years. And there's no reason why it needs to take that long. It's just that our medical system isn't really set up to help people. Or I'm Canadian, so I don't know about in other parts of the world. And it's not intuitive, and yeah, when you can't sleep, it takes you a while before you realize what a big problem it is, and by that time it's become a really big problem, and you need someone to help you get out of it because you're so foggy from not sleeping that adds an additional layer of difficulty. And I don't want anyone to take any longer than they need to come through that process. So if I have someone on a call who really needs my help, but I'm not good at the enrollment call, then I'll miss the opportunity to help them, and maybe they'll miss that opportunity to actually get over their insomnia. So yeah, so it's really important to me.
Yeah, it sounds like the world needs you to master your enrollment and your influence. That's awesome. Thank you for that share.
Thank you.
Let's go on to Joshua.
Hey, Dean. Hi, everyone.
What's up, brother?
Thank God, doing good. So I wrote that mastering the art of enrollment will allow me to get past the fear of, will this person buy my service to, I know the value I'm delivering, so they definitely will. And it's important to me because it will allow me to manifest who I really am and to live with purpose and to manifest that into the world. And I wrote also that it will allow me financial freedom by through doing something that I love, which will translate to time freedom. But then I really thought it through, and I said I think it will eliminate that thought of freedom of time because I'll love every minute of what I'm doing. And so just on another note, I kind of really defined my niche, I guess, this week. It took me quite a bit of time, and I was doing mindset and purpose. And so I really broke it down to weight loss, I guess, still with / mindset, but really weight loss, because that's where I feel I can help people tremendously. And so, yeah, I think mastering the enrollment process, it'll translate to me knowing that I'm delivering a lot of value. So I think it'll take away that fear.
Awesome. So yeah, getting past that fear of rejection. One thing that I think it's something that goes along with that is that, if you feel confident in your ability to enroll and influence, and you trust yourself in that, you can also trust in the fact that everybody that you talk to is somebody that you're meant to talk to, and everybody that you enroll is somebody that you're meant to enroll, including everybody that you don't enroll are people that you're not meant to enroll for whatever reason. And just trusting that the universe has your back, and there's a greater reason why somebody either enrolled or didn't enroll. And when you can master that art of influence and that art of enrollment and hold that space for people's transformation, you know that you did everything that you could to guide them through that transformation, and it's up to them whether they want to step forth. So that's great. And then obviously, in this one skill, like I said at the beginning of this call, this might be the single most important skill that any of us could develop, is if we can communicate, and we can also, like some of the best leaders of our time and even before our time, some of the most influential people, they had the art of enrollment down. They can enroll people into a vision. They can enroll people into an idea, enroll people into a movement, right? Or in this case, enroll people into something that's going to help them transform. So all very purposeful. So thanks, brother, for sharing. Does that feel complete?
Yeah, it does. Thank you.
Great. Nathaniel, let's hear from you, brother.
Yo. Yeah, pretty similar to what you actually just said. I said legit anything is possible because you have endless opportunities and endless potential while achieving the ultimate skill. For me, it's important because it just kind of like hones in on the legacy that I want to leave behind as a good-hearted individual who assists, empowers, equips those in need. And I think that having this ultimate skill gives me the ability to be the change that I want to see in the world. And furthermore, I've had people, I'm a Christian, so I've done a lot of youth stuff in the past and have a huge heart for kids. And so people have actually told me I'd be doing a disservice if I'm not serving like youth in some capacity. And so I've kind of taken that mindset and adopted that more of like, I have a huge heart to benefit others. And so I'd be doing a disservice towards my future and towards like the world if I'm not actively seeking out ways to help empower other people, because we all have greatness in us. Just should never go unseen.
So beautiful, man. Thank you for sharing that. So the abilities, the two things I wrote down from your share were literally anything's possible. Endless opportunities. It's the ultimate skill that makes everything either easier or unnecessary. And then also the ability to create a more impactful and more widespread, expansive legacy. So your legacy can be as impactful as you want it to be based on the level of which you master the art of influence and enrollment. So thank you for that, man. Anything else? Great. All right, let's hear from Steven.
All right, so a lot of the stuff that everyone else has already said, mastering the ability to convince people of their own potential is, I think, a massive thing for all of us. But honestly, mastering the ability of selling ourselves on the future as well is important. And that's something I wrote down, is like selling myself on the benefits of doing certain things or the benefits of stopping or letting go of certain activities and certain opportunities, and then mastering that enrollment ability lets me master my own mind, which then lets me help even more to master and help everyone else.
Yeah, that's big. So back in the Cutco days, Rob and I, we used to teach this idea that, to sell, you need to have an enthusiasm for what you're selling. And the enthusiasm comes from your conviction in what you're selling. And oftentimes as service providers, we do have to sell ourselves. We have to have the conviction in ourselves and the confidence in ourselves that we are hands down the best person to serve that person, if you believe that that's the truth. The last 4 letters of enthusiasm are IASM, and that also can mean an acronym. It's kind of a weird thing that, like we were really stretching on this one, but IASM stands for I am sold myself. So I myself am sold on me, right? So I have to be sold into it. I have to be enrolled into it. And then what I also heard from you as well is that we have to enroll ourselves into our own vision. Like we have to believe our own vision of what's possible, our own vision that what we're doing is purposeful and in alignment with our true core values. So if we can enroll ourselves, that is the beginning of influence. We have to learn how to influence ourselves in order to influence and impact and enroll others. So thank you, Stephen. Anything else? Awesome. And then last one, let's hear from Sarah.
Hi. So influencing and enrolling people has saved lives and given my life meaning, purpose, and passion. So the world needs health, and I can give that to the world, and I do give that to the world.
That is a very purposeful reason to master the art of enrollment and influence, literally saving lives and making the world a better place. So thank you for bringing that in, Sarah. Anything else?
Thank you. That's all. Thanks.
Beautiful. Thank you guys so much for your participation in this. This is amazing. I'm feeling very enrolled into all of your visions. So let's move on to the next one. This is the last question that we are going to dive into. What can you appreciate about your services or yourself? I'm just going to put / yourself. What can you appreciate about your services or yourself that will help your clients transform? What is the highest potential for their transformations? So we just journaled on what's possible for us. But now let's talk about what's possible for the people that we serve. What can you appreciate about your services that will help your clients transform? And what is your highest potential? What is the highest potential for their transformations? So we'll take 5 to 7 minutes on this. This will be the last journaling question of this evening. So let's finish strong, put a lot of intention and attention into this. And then we'll finish off our conversation this evening with some really powerful awarenesses about what's possible when we are helping other people transform and helping our clients transform. Okay, last question. Let's finish strong here. So let's pull up the prompts here. So what can you appreciate about your services or yourself that will help your clients transform? And what is the highest potential for their transformation? So we'll open it up for a few more shares. And if you have something to share, go ahead and type the word share. And let's finish up this conversation. So, Itzel.
Hello. So what I wrote down is that this is important, or for the highest potential. I see the mentality growth in myself. I went ahead and took action and just showed up to do this. And I was in the coaching, growing your coaching business as well. So I feel like just taking action and actually showing up has helped me a lot. I know I'm still struggling in some things, but I do see my mentality growth, and I see the difference from before I started both groups, and I mean, before my mentality was so different than it is now. And I think that's what helps me appreciate my service, is that I see the growth in me, and if I see it in myself, I know other people will also can also grow in their mentality.
Perfect. Yeah, so what I wrote down is walk the path first so that you can help others walk the path as well. So doing the work on ourselves, when we are holding the space for other people's transformation, and especially having a business around transformation, there's a responsibility, and that journey is, a lot of that journey is also the journey with ourselves, because like me and Rob, we are constantly challenging each other and looking for ways to continue growing ourselves, and we know that is so necessary because of the work that we do, and the work that you guys do is very much in alignment with that. It's all personal growth and professional growth, and if we stop growing, there's major consequences, not only for us, but the people that we serve. So it's so important for us to walk that path. So thank you, Itzel, for bringing that in. All right, let's go with Trevor.
What's up, everybody? Some things I appreciate about my services and myself are my newfound positive perspective, and then my discipline. So I know a lot of people, they're so negative. So I just bring positivity, I bring energy, and I think people will really benefit from those two things. I also like to find out what motivates people, because I'm a fitness trainer, so I need that extra rep. I need that one more burpee. So how do I get it out of people, okay? So how do I access that? I want to access it, and then I want to tell them how to access it. Because, the fitness stuff, it just transcribes right into life. So it's like, if you give up on me here, if you give up on yourself, then you're probably going to give up on yourself somewhere else. So I just want people to know where their buttons are. I want to pull them out so they can access them and push them when they're ready to go. And they need that little bit of extra motivation.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, that's super motivating for me to hear, what we do in the gym and how we show up, and also how we approach the challenges in the gym are also how we approach the challenges in other areas outside the gym. And what I wrote down is how we do one thing is how we do everything. So thanks for bringing that in, brother.
That's my new mantra, baby. I'm on it.
I love it. All right, next let's hear from Aram.
So mine is also along the same lines of basically walking the path first before, you know, you can help guide other people who are looking to walk towards that path. But as you were saying, growing constantly so you can help others also do the same thing. And hopefully when you get to that point of helping them, they can then also have a positive impact on their surroundings, like their immediate surroundings and hopefully beyond, as a way of paying it forward.
Yes. Yeah, it's the ripple effect, right? You impact yourself, then impact someone else, they impact someone else, they impact someone else, and it just keeps rippling it out into the world, into the universe, and creates that positive change. And that's why all we have to do is be the change that we want to see in the world.
That's the goal.
So I love that. Thank you for bringing that in. Anything else?
That is all.
All
Thank
right.
you.
Awesome. And Caesar, yes, there is time. So I believe you're the last share here. So let's put a bow on this and let's finish this off strong. So Caesar, what you got, brother?
Awesome. Thank you, Dean. So what I appreciate about myself for sure is I'm always authentic, transparent, honest, but really there's no BS is my main thing. There's no magic, no fluff in the things that I say. I feel like a lot of the talks that I've given to students, the college students that I work with, a lot of times I'll ask them to raise their hands if they think all this mindset and focus stuff is BS at the beginning, right? And everyone raises their hands and I'm like, I'm with you. And the reason I'm with you is because I have heard people who say these kinds of things and phrases, but you can tell the difference when they're just saying it versus when they've actually gone through something themselves, or when they really listen to you first and they're telling you what you actually hear. They're not just telling you, you know, a set of words, right? And so with all that fluff in mind, the next question you asked was, what is the highest potential for their transformation? And the first thing that came to my mind was, there is no limit. They can do anything. And that's one of the fluffiest things you can tell someone is you can do anything, you can be anything, right? And at the same time, that's where we're so powerful, is we actually understand how that can be and why that can be and what it actually means to be able to do anything. So in my world, what that means is I've never felt like I've had limits. I've been lucky enough to have opportunities where, you know, if I wanted to go get that job, I can figure out a way to go get it, right? Or now, you know, if I want to take full control and, you know, not only work from home, but more importantly, change people's lives and make that my occupation too, make that what I do all day long, all year round, is help people, this thing that I love to do and I'm good at and I can give to the world, and I can do that, right? So I know what it means to say, you know, anything is possible and there's no limits, and I can bring that with no fluff. And I think a lot of folks here on the call can resonate with the fact that, you know, we there's a lot of phrases and words that we go to, but the big difference is that we can really back them up, and that's of huge value to other people.
I love that, man. Thank you for sharing that. And also, you know, what you touched on, which is really embodying your authenticity of like, hey, I'm communicating this the way that I receive this best, right? So it's like, I don't want to give the fluff. I don't want to give, you know, I want it to the point. I want to, you know, as clear as possible. And that's that's how I receive it best. And that's the beautiful part about us humans, is that like when we are tapped into our own authenticity, we can create whatever we want to create and attract the people that are going to appreciate that most. And that's what's so special. And that's why like there's an abundance of people out there that you never have to worry about somebody stealing your client, or, you know, like there's no such thing as somebody stealing a client. All there is somebody being attracted to something else, right? And so if we are who we are, then that is the biggest favor that we can do for others, because the moment that we abandon and not trust who we are, that's when we create that resistance and create that lack of resonance in our message and in our relationship and within our audiences. So thank you for bringing that in, brother. It's great to have you, by the way.
Spot on. Yeah, thank you. And on that too, I realize that I'm biased towards what works for me. So I recognize that, and I'm trying to learn to balance. But you hit it spot on,
dude. Be who the fuck you are, man.
Will do. Thank you, Dean.
Who the fuck you are. That's a Yeah, give up being perfect for being authentic. The authentic is perfect. And so, yeah, be who you are, own it, man.
Love that.
Absolutely. All right, guys. Well, give me a thumbs up if this was valuable for you. And let's finish off with a single word that describes either the state that you're in right now or your experience this evening, what you appreciate about this container, and just try to sum it up in 1 to 2 words. So we've got listen, refreshing, driven, grateful, trusting myself, limitless, optimistic, pumped, insightful, aligned, limitless, excited, ready, renewed confidence, peaceful, growing, on a mission, interested, receiver, prepared, possible, grounded. What I love about this community is look at all of these words, right? And think about, there's 2 types of community, right? There's just regular community, which is just like a group of people. But then there's also a community of intention or a community of practice. And, this is a community of intention, or a community of practice. Like we come here, like when you guys step into this Zoom call on Tuesdays and Thursdays, this is the dojo. We're getting to work, right? We are looking within ourselves. We are getting uncomfortable, getting vulnerable, but also in spirit of growth, in spirit of getting to that next level, because there is always another level. And that's what I just appreciate so much about this community is that this is a co-creation. We are constantly evolving this community and evolving the consciousness of our community. And the more intention that we all put into this, the more that everybody benefits. All boats rise with the tide here. And so I'm really appreciating that right now. And I just felt called to share that. So thank you guys for a wonderful evening. Thursdays are always my favorite day for this reason. And you guys are amazing. And take what you learned today and really reflect on it for holding that space for others' transformation as you continue to transform. The last thing I'll share with you is that if you want to be a part of the 14-day full-time coach challenge, I made a post right before this call. Just go ahead and comment on that post if you would like to be part of that challenge so that we can hold you accountable and also support you as you spend 14 days really stepping into an up-leveled version of you as a business owner. So have a great night, guys. Much love.